eyelining as close to the perfection of humanity as possible so that we can see the people who are supposed to influence what was termed as the minorities, but majorly, in my own viewpoint, hold characteristics of a land of people that are supposed to represent characters in a Watchtower pamphlet to the characters who were supposed to come closer to in real life from the Bible, to give us the viewing of life and the people who were supposed to meet, to come closer to befriend, to know what security and safety is supposed to look like and feel like. Who else? Apart from the forest and nature, fruits, salad, I can only highlight that the food would suggest that we eat along the lines of vegetables and fruits and good conversations and good laughter without trying to be anything more. And we all should have in our handbag a Bible. With ability, someone to hold on to, even if it is family or a house. Small attributes of how things are supposed to look. If you can just see the beauty, many call it cute or baby features. Those features in those people and those mannerisms in our people that I have selected as angels, if they're only to be the only angels, to add language for the way, in a good way, when he speaks it, Calvin Brodus, that rhymology, the tonality in how we're supposed to speak without any forms of anger that would or could be any harm against us, would suggest that's how we're supposed to speak. To bring it closer, to bring everybody safer, so that everyone can practice safety at all times, would be the reason that all the bad things wouldn't exist. So from my AG_KING Instagram account from many years ago, I didn't have a lot of things in my mind at the time. I just knew that I came out of rehab and something had happened, something was happening. Couldn't explain it, couldn't abbreviate it properly. Everyone was bombarding my persona. I was still flushing myself away from the detox world of what I couldn't hold on to be able to refresh myself at that time. But I was sensitive, I was born again, and if anyone was to become threatened, then all the tests that I incurred at the time were there to test me again. The personality of my persona right now doesn't look good to you if you're still asking questions. How comes his haircut isn't trimmed, or how comes it seems as if he's just woken up, or his lips are a bit chapped, or his teeth don't look white as they did on the Instagram profile that time, or he's not shaven, or would be the problems that you're clouding your matter with. And then it would seem as if you've just woken up, whereas I can feel awakened even if I'm still sleepy. Would it be right to classify the way that I stylize my project? It would be based upon what's said. To answer the questions, even though I've answered the questions and I've gave you signs to practice, to speak about, would it suggest that you all was failing? Nah, it just means that you were trying. And that should be applauded. And by myself, inside, for the palms and psalms that you can't see. That's why I approve of all your service as brown people. And if you can't focus and see me in this projection, that's probably the illuminations of why you were not seen in your perspective field of practice. But don't feel bad, feel good now. And so with all this information and knowledge, I'm sure you'll be moving forwards proactively. And the questions that have taken place inside of your temples, or your mosques, or your personality, or your speech, and how you're supposed to feel and think, can level down a notch to re-esteem yourselves. Wouldn't be anything but just to esteem yourselves would calm your hyperactivity. Just make you observe. And what that can do for you afterwards would preserve your erratic behavior. And that would make me happy, because you would know what happiness is supposed to stand for in your lives at that time. So rest be assured, you're standing on top of the floor to become the board of your own CEO enterprise. Amazing. This is my mid-morning tempo that an employer asks you to take out the bed of your heaven to come and work for them to see every day. I'm supposed to say, have a good day now. But you should feel that to encourage the imperfections, to wipe that away when it seems as if you need to ask her questions, how to innovate your energy. Okay, let's start again. We can do this. I can do this. I don't know what, but I can do this. I'm gonna do it. It's just gonna reveal itself. Yeah, it's gonna reveal itself. That's right, it's gonna reveal itself. No one else is around, but it's gonna happen. Right, I'm gonna go out now. I'm gonna go out and see what's out there. And whatever challenges me is the reminder that the plan's taking place inside of you and me. And even though the sound goes, I suppose the flows of your interpretation always glows, no matter what color your truth is. So what's this sound? It's your umbilical cord, your Wi-Fi, your spiritualism. It's your beat, your bob, your bop to the shops. It's your corn and the cob. It's your football kick-up to practice distance to lob. It's my mouth, which can be over-abbreviated as a gob, to gobble you up with love, and my infectious interpretation that shows this is who we have over here, that if you want to bring any alphabet from a game that our guy don't have to figure out to be configuring, which is customary, because the cause to cuss, to discuss, to boost out your mouth, to bust, is the misdistrust of some wayward lust. We won't need to say that. That's why we stay silent when our one's awakening. And you guys are shaking in, breaking in. Who's that? The enemies, the frenemies, quaking in. Ricky breaking in with a lakening of laughter that spits in the face of those who you despise of. I comprise above without having to touch the shove, because above my mind set to get set, to intellect, resurrect, detect, sensitivity over immense ability, pretense, vicinity, dispersing within the mist, kiss, Sarah Morton on the lips, the cheek, the forehead, to hug you with my body, which is a kiss from somebody who has always carried the picture of your estimation, proclamation. I suck with the nation to put clothes on your feet, shoes on your toes. I suppose this is what my dim light in this brown skin would have rose to oppose. Cause I chose throughout all the different people who creates more sequel, who struggle with knowing how they're supposed to appropriate themselves to be known as equal, even. We call these names like Christopher or Stephen, but it's just a name. I'm believing from all what I sow, in which this Spider-Man is weaving. Put back on your head, because I'm not cleaving, waving. Saving. That's what it is. That's what it was. That's what I speech to discuss. Alicia, the twin of the protection of the other side of my body, which together is another mother of protection from my sister, which just makes us angels open to love one another at any given cost. If not with one another, then share the love with somebody else. Nalicia, Nalicia, I see her on my cake, my brown gâteau, dark forest plateau. Karma surrounds me with the love of those two women who are twins, who give me equality, sensitivity, diversity, a civil right with a moral ethic to say, any woman out there wanting inspiration, then I've got two girls over here that can teach you what they taught me, to always carry something deep in the skin, beyond the skin, beneath the skin, and what you're looking for when you see me. But you don't want to know none of that. You guys got it all. You got all the answers. You guys are happy with that. No, you're not. No, you're not. But you could be. But where am I going with this new energy? Oh, where? That little bit that changed it was just a certain type of other happy example that defines if any girl could make me happy, whether she felt as if she needed to take off her clothes or sing in a way to revitalize the zing in my day. Hey, 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 ooh. Then you'd have to come and meet Nalicia Morton and Sarah Morton, who are two twins that showed me the essence of a woman, a girl, a queen, a princess, a partner, a wife, a friend, a sister. Influence, motivation, cure, essence. And what do we call the essence? Perfume, a degree, which is my halo. Hey, low. What is this in the hat to resist? Would you? Share the love with thy neighbor, THY, which is your savior if you can become one with the spirit. But don't feel blastified from afar because I'm hitting the frequency like this. Just lets you know from me who you are to me, with me, by me, for me, to let you know forevermore who your main leader is, even though it would suggest that you haven't met me yet. That would be a reason to smile and say, we told you our guy would just knock it off the block. You didn't want to listen, innit? Or you just want to be proven right or wrong. Sorry it took so long. I'm sorry for the wait. I'm sorry that I made myself and state wait because, you guys wanted me to come faster, but because you guys speak so fast, I couldn't understand your language, and it was too fast for me, and mine was too slow for you. So we mismatched at that time, and we didn't strike a flame. So that just clarifies my house, with the intention of stating that my house do no wrong. So who got something else to say to me now, yeah? Apart from thank you. Thanks for your energy, thanks for your time, thanks for stating the kingdom of your mind. If only we can take something from it, then you would have had to feel it in your chest. Boom, boom. And if you can't feel it in your chest, then feel it in there, do. And if you can't feel it in there, then put your hands next to your temple and feel the beat that will resemble the heart in a subtle way. And then if you can't feel it in there, then do what the doctors do on your wrist when they're checking for your pulse. Do. And then if you can't feel it, then put your hand on your here and go to then feel it. And then if you can't feel it, then bring out your tongue and go and then you can feel it in different ways. Or just poke yourself in the face and then you can feel it, see that you're alive and you've got everything. So why are you coming alive? Huh? To show that you still care, to help your neighbour, to forgive somebody so that you can be forgiven too, to stop somebody murdering someone, to honour someone, to be an honest witness. That doesn't make you a snitch, that makes you an honest abbreviation, collaboration, testimonial, walking truth, on water, on the land, from the Bible, to be classed as a person from the Bible too. Which, if it doesn't make you family because of the colour of your skin, then it makes you an angel. If you've let your angel go, then you're just a good person. If you're not a good person and you've just invented being a bad person, who are you? Devil, ain't you? And you deserve to get slapped up in your face on both sides of the cheek. And you do this labour for 7 days a week, and you rest when you close your eyes to reawake and do it again. That's the Sabbath of washing and refreshing your body's mind state. Giving money to who for what? When they ain't telling it like this? Because they forgot. They begot only what their impulses suggest. Impulses, as it beats harder to define what an impulsive act is not supposed to represent. So when you want to oppose me with your law, think twice. Write it down. 'Cause your sire is taking your focus away from the truth, because you know you have to reveal something in that truth in which you tried to run away from. This is as close as the eye to eye that you're going to get from my interest anyway, because I've got better things to do. With the people who I know still love me. And if you didn't love me because you lost that love for me, this is the reason to get it back. By the time you finish listening to this, you would have got it back. But don't rush it. Take your time with it. Give yourself a reason to ask your employer for time off so that you can get through it. So it makes you feel good inside, just knowing who the Lord is, for real. on my crown? Where is it? What's that against my head? The sticks on Jesus Christ's head? Where is it? Don't touch this, my head. But it looks like it's surrounding my head. But it compensates for the colour of what? From within. Do I need to say it to make you feel bad? You designed this room. Whoever painted this room, who put the style inside of this room to suggest what I can see when I walk around. Huh? We can do this. We can get through this day. Yes, we can. Because I'm telling you, you can. Who's telling you can? You're telling you. I can. Yes, I can. I can do this. I can. I can figure this out. I can work this out. No matter what I say, it's difficult, but I can work this out. I'm reading to understand the scriptures, but I can work this out with the power of the Lord and the Father and the Holy Spirit that reminds me that what's lost can be found will guide me to work this out. I'm smiling because I know I'm going to work this out. Mr. Franklin, you're preaching. In America, your wife is Megan Good. That Franklin, him. The money of smiling when you're trying to find within the answers. Some may say Tony Blair, the way he speaks, to show that this is how we speak and we keep it like this. But there's so many different touches that we have to find inspiration from. But if he speaks like that, why did he harm people in that way? Some people just don't know. Some people cling to what they feel that they know to use that as an example for getting over a problem at that time. Some people look the way that they look. They're not supposed to look that way unless they're adopting a character for others to see that suggests you ain't bothering me. You can't touch me. I have something to help me get through your problems that you're causing for everybody. Can that person see that they're becoming a problem for somebody else? It depends on the cause. Depends on the duty. Depends on what it's going to do for that state, the mind state, the people who they're protecting, whoever it would be. All you need to know is Tony and Tony, Andrew Webster, has a crown without wearing one, because this is it. This little fluffy thing right here, which we wouldn't know. So we've got the character of Wolverine, and he has stick claws, and then he gets adamantium inside of him, and then he has steel titanium claws. And this right here is the crown, and most of my people know that. And that stick that sits on top of the picture, that's it. But I don't need it to touch my head. And I didn't see it to make my point for a character that no one really walks around trying to identify which could be the character. Because we don't need to know who the character looks like. We just need to hear the words. And then we need to be taught who and why is supposed to represent the correct mannerisms that saves lives. And who's supposed to look for what beauty is supposed to say and do to reflect. It's a conclusion. It's a degree. It's a practice. It's an ending. It's an opening. Alicia and Sarah Morton are, for me, the only two women that have both commandments on their twin-like features in their mannerisms. And I will find the second picture so that you will see who I'm talking about. And if I can't find the second picture because it's not out there, then I guess you guys won't know who Jesus could be next to the Jesus within the hood that you can't see, and which is on this side of the United Kingdom, which is a part of another part of Christ in God's chosen ones that you do not know yet, to the reason why things have to be protected. And if you can't protect yourselves, and you allow yourselves to let you go to gone of your degree, that you could be the cause and root of the problem with people who are calling themselves bad men, bad boys, bad girls, bad people, bad things, bad practices, bad food, bad drinks, bad drugs, bad actions, bad music, bad sounds. Not with me, not beside me, by those who are practicing doing those things, to bring out the impression in other people that because that person wants to be known as a gangster or as a bad person, what they're doing is making me feel here, where I'm sitting right now, kind of bad. I feel your badness. But because I feel your badness, it lets me know where your badness, wherever you're sitting or standing, when you're not sitting and standing with me, needs to be. So, the people who I look like, they don't need to take anything away from me, because they look just like me and they're my representatives. But I'm just asking all people out there, why don't you do something that could make my house happy and make me happy because of what you know I can share, which is not just in my pinky finger, but in my pinky brain. And that's what I do to reassert the world of people without being paid, without no jewels on my neck, yeah, without no girls on my teeth, yeah, without no contact lenses in my eyes, yeah, without no skin fade in my hair, yeah, without walking around thinking that people need to bow down to me. Yes, Lord. No. Show me some love when I'm there, man. Don't talk about me. Don't rap in front of me or behind me. Don't make me feel uncomfortable. Give me a good haircut because I'm paying you, an ancestor of someone who was slayed in the field, just to bring your business somewhere. And that's deep for me. And the only way I can carry the emotions if you show me the emotions of your respect when I come in to pay you something for you to have a future for, which is a church outside of the church that you know it to be. And if you don't know what your business has been created for because of the falling of all African individuals, what are you talking about? Who you're giving attitude when I walk into your shops? Who you testing? I know you before I walk into the shop. Even if I did have examples from other people in your community from other shops, I got the same people in my household. And I know you without even needing to go on Wikipedia or pick up the Torah or the Quran or the Bible of any different denominations without buying your autobiography. Just look you in your face for a moment. when you're trying to hide behind your glasses or your makeup or your attitude. Yeah. And when you're trying to trick me to use something that belongs to me against me, I could just into the happy place at any moment. Brown people, you're beautiful to me. You're filled with everything that I need, okay? So if this is a vote or to continue our lifeline, our relationship, then why would you even need to question a man? Okay, you probably thought that I was hypnotized and I was bitten, but now you know I'm not. Just because I don't talk Patois or Jamaican or American or African or perfect British English language, then why would you assume, why would you judge and profile me? Because you think I'm going to want all these things that you've got. It's going to change my life. The aging of my time here on the land ultimately changes my life. All that I have is all that I need. And if I ask for a little bit more, I'm sure somebody could lend me something. If I want to win the lottery to buy a nice little house, I'm sure your goodwill gesture can just allow me to do that. And if I don't want it, then I don't ask for it. If I don't ask for it, doesn't mean that I don't want it. It's whether I'm deserving. And if I am deserving, people should not be putting themselves in the place to take that away from me. If you're my family, then I will find you at the right time and I will have the appropriate thing needed for you at that time. Does it hurt to wait? No. Does it hurt to be patient? No. Does it hurt to select the time for things to take its place naturally? No. Why? You want to make love to your wife, then you ejaculate your semen. It takes 9 months. Why? What do you think? Something has to grow appropriately to be natural, to be considered right for the moment, for the time. 8 hours in the night has to offer you time to rest, to wash your clothes, to freshen yourself, to pray, to eat, to do it again. That's why. Because sometimes we have to stop at the red light so that we don't get knocked over by the advancement of electrical appliances, which is slowly bringing the world forwards into a new generation. That's why we stop at the lights. That's why when I say, excuse me, you stop for me. But if I turn around and say, have you got any spare change? Or for the homeless, when you know that you're not homeless, why would I stop? It's not two rights make difference in different areas. If you're trying to play someone, to rob from someone, then that would be considered wrong. But if you have something good to give, something to share, you can do no wrong but good. Precedes your characters. How do you want it? Clean shaven, a tie around my neck, a little chain, high fade, mouth grills, jewels, jewelry, good music in the background? Nah. Because when you go to the temple and you go to Mount Sinai to look for the tree of life, it's as simple and as basic and as contemporary and as subtle and somber and quarantined as the silence of this simple message. No need to ask no more. Where is he? Why is he? Who is she? Who is who? if I haven't approved of them or her. They don't have to be famous to be seen, because I know them and they know me. Faultless in all my expressions, no matter what I've been taught by society and different individuals. The buck, the bank, the steering wheel that I don't have stops in my presence. At top of my memory, I would have to say all my influences who inspired me. And I've just come into the notion of finding the people who I've never met before just to make this possible. Erykah Badu. She's a singer. She's an R&B soul singer, but the way that she stands and the way that her eyes and the way that her cheeks fall and the way that her lips protrude out, this style of just standing and taking a picture, which is a juxtapose that makes it look very attractive, if only that just being the only attractive picture that I take away from the influence of Erykah Badu, wanting to take a picture in the moments of inspiring other women to become a DJ, then that would be what creates wanting to mix a project like what I'm experimenting with, just to showcase who I had based my influence on, so that I can reveal style. My other influence would be, off random, Neighbours Morton, who was and still is a friend and a past partner who we used to share time together. Her love and her concentration with giving me the first gift that I ever received in the way that it should have been given to me, to be perceived as a gift, was what awoken the intention of a real woman should do with a man. If there is something missing from a woman, who wouldn't know what would be missing if only she was only to identify it would be that of a private part, which would be the Bible. So Neighbours Morton, who is a wonderful partner of the past, who I had shared the opportunity to date, gave me something which was a silent gesture of her intelligence. Then later on, I was to date her younger twin sister, who then gave me something special that no other woman could give at that age. She was so many years younger than me, but it wasn't to digest the fact upon suggesting that I'd had cradle snatched somebody else's daughter to undermine them in my presence privately. I was in my 20s and she was just 18 or 19 when we met. So it wasn't that bad because we didn't go any further. She just showed me the fine moments of Valentine's Day. I had no money and I felt really bad, but I had a flat, but it was warm, and I had a TV and one couch, and she brought chocolates and a pair of jeans to my aid. And that was the most heartbreaking but most joyful moment of my life, because I'd met someone who cared that much for me. She may have imagined that I'd have something special for her, but she prepared beforehand and brought that to me. And that left a seat in anything she wants inside my heart forever. alongside her sister, her older sister, Sarah Morton. I'd say my mother would come next. And the notion that I bring to the table with that influence is a number of reasons. She came together with my dad with no money, no fame, no privilege, only but the life that she was breathing. To want to share something biblical about what she had taken in at that time to share with my dad, from which he had taken in from a different part of the land, to come together to create the most genuine time of the 1982 era of my birth. Me, who I carried the discipline of what my dad taught me and what my mother Delta taught me. My dad Leslie George Gray had instilled the practice of a loving home, even though we didn't have a mother in our home, because my dad had created more children with other women. It was very difficult for us to see how we're supposed to act and react with our peers and our family members, and how we could distribute this within the community to grow the community. Jason Winters, Jason Coley, who I met at Foyer a very long time ago. What I take away from him, only to give back to him as a thank you gesture, was his Shaolin mantis practice. But it wasn't that, to the reason why my words didn't come out right, because it wasn't that. It must have been, at the time, he didn't have an influence. He didn't have his mother there to care for him and give and share with him the emotion that he needed from that time in his life, because his father wasn't there. So he shared something emotional with me, that he was lost and he was out there in the world. Then we had an altercation which somebody else had intervened, and he tried to stand for her, but he respected me. She had annoyed me. Mind you, I was younger, so I was kind of trying to get the argument across, but he got in the way. And then I done something to him that made him then select Shaolin Mantis as his practice. But that was already in him. So if I couldn't have spoken to him emotionally because I was carrying my own pain physically, I strengthened him. Whether he came to notice that because of what I did, or who he knew that I was at the time, it would only show me his loyalty later on when we met near Coventry Road outside a studio, where he shared the words with me, "You will find a way." But I always had love for Jason Coley, because the way that he emceed on the radio station back in the days of my birthing, coming to Birmingham, gave me so much influence to say, I have all these celebrities around me. But I didn't know what the celebrity meant at that time. But the influence of my friends then, and my family members, and my brothers, and my sisters, and who were inspiring me of how brilliant we are at this low stage in society, at lower class at that time, in a hostel, inspired me, that made me carry so much love with me into the future, even if I was by myself. Who else? Of course, Navelet Gray, my sister, who inspired me to want to dance. She was very stylistic in her own style, and she always met loads of young men. She could always showed the ability to change and switch her style, to which then she shared the love for Aaliyah at the time, which with the love of my own elder sister, neighbours, showed me then that she could easily bring that love from Aaliyah, who was based in New York, back to Birmingham to make me feel a part of the time of a love that Aaliyah sends out subconsciously to the one. But because my sister Navlet could bring those emotions close in the house that we were all brought up in with my dad, Leslie Gray and Charlene, and Nikita and Shireen, who also plays their part, beginning with Nikita, who gives the look of an African woman in a British form, as dark as she is and as plump and juicy and fruity as her facial features describe me to see the fruit of my labour, and then the vulnerability, which is a strength from Charlene Gray, that shows me all the emotions of all different women out there who use their emotions for one thing. Charlene Gray, my sister, my youngest sister, brought all those emotions to me to say, well, this is what women are going to do out there. If you feel as if you're lost and you can't find the answers, you can always come back home to feel the love, to know that you're protected by family members who are going to teach you what's out there in the streets that's going to lead you astray, because if you're not taught what these feelings are supposed to mean, then you're going to be dissuaded by them or persuaded by them, and you're going to be misled by them, and you're going to be blackmailed by them and used by them and made into an example that may ruin your image. Another influence, Sugar Ray Robinson. His brilliance for just being a well-infused practitioner of physique. If I could only take away the boxing persona, then I could see that and notice his physique as a boxer in his prime, and the beauty of his smile and how he stylized the wanting to skip and drive a nice Cadillac. The hairstyle didn't matter because his skin shone through the character of who he used as an influence to highlight who he was in society of the time, of the practice of prioritizing black from the whites in the United States. Another influence. It's pretty difficult to find the exact people because of the way that they look. So I'm searching and I'm seeking. Everyone had played their part equally. But this is going to have to just close as a small example. Who do I look to next? Brad Pitt and Jennifer Aniston. If they have a quality, it's just the look of a happy white home that's supposed to act just like them. Individually, together, would suggest if the very original creators for the white community would be Adam and Eve, then Brad Pitt and Jennifer Aniston would stand out as the main figures of white humanity for me. For a number of reasons. Jennifer Aniston, she has a nice, caring face, and she wouldn't harm anyone. She has the correct attributes of a white woman to suggest that she wouldn't hurt nobody, but she has humor, and that's the humor that I recognize and admire and enjoy to see in a white woman. Brad Pitt, He's natural. He's beautiful as a white person. He's not damned. There was a film that I watched with Anthony Hopkins, and Brad Pitt plays the unknown character, but I can't remember the film as much. But it was one of the films that I watched quite a few times because it done something in me to reawaken me. An Asian woman that I met. There's been a few. There was Dina, who I met at Gallery 37, which was a city global practice for young youths. And I had met her at that time to define the beautiful qualities of an Asian woman. The way she looked, her decorum and her aura that she had at that time, that showed me who the Asian people are supposed to go to for clarity and honesty. In Dina alone, I could feel the truth of Islam or the Quran or Torah or the Bible of her parents and their family beliefs. Dina was fulfilled in her cheeks, and her lips were black. Her eyes were dark, defined, so I could see the moons of many wishes and dreams in her eyes. Hassan, a young sporting partner of me, in which we shared together for me to learn of the practices of an Asian man. He showed the warm accountability to want to support me in asking me if there was something that I could do, to show me how much he admired my personality. At the time we were going through our changes, he had his mother and his father in their home. But there was a quality of him that I could bring away with me. But I did find myself nearly taking that for granted when we were in the gymnasium and training with one another, to teach me if someone is weaker or less stronger than you, should you hurt that person if you know that it's going to infuse your character or to give you the impersonation of being more powerful than your peer? Then the answer would be no. To other influences, Jess Moore, who is an Instagram personality, and the way that she makes me laugh, to chuckle, to giggle, that infuses my happiness inside for what young women claim is a dismissal of men in a time of women versus men, highlights that women too can still have talent and intellect to do something very special in the environment. And that's what she showed me. And then when I looked over here in the United Kingdom, and I came across another fella who was a comedian named Richard Blackwood, he inspired me so much because he gave me something that was magnetic as a personality, that volcanoes to erupt emotional value, which is intelligence, that's contagious. The way he captors the concentration without trying to over bombard you with the message. To this day, that man still has that very skill set, which is a will besetted upon the foundations of he has social public monument that's still relevant. Gina Yashere, who had the most appealing smile as an African representative, her skin tone, her tonality, her hair, her red lipstick, her female masculinity entwined indronously into two halves of a whole was what made my eyes think, whoa, who is this? There was a guy for influence. My brother, Michael Duckworth, who is known as the first MC to have acclaimed the name Hectic of Birmingham, United Kingdom, was my very first main influence in my family, because he taught me how to speak and he taught me how to run really fast before Linford Christie and Chris Akabusi or Michael Johnson or Usain Bolt. My brother, Michael Duckworth, ran so fast one night when I said to him, "You want a race?" And he said, "Nah, you won't be able to handle it." And I was like, "Of course I could." I thought that I was the fastest runner at that time because I used to win all my races at school. So, on your marks, get set, go. And then we ran to the Cowler Tower block in Perry Bar. And it seemed as if he was by me at the time. And then he took off. And that just made me stop straight away because I was just like, nah. He was wearing a proper cool Adidas jacket. It was black and white. He used to wear Nike Air Force trainers before they became Nike Air Force ones. He had a great style. He was very popular and still is popular to this day. Even though I don't see him as much, I have and hold the deepest amount of love for my brother, because he done things that was special as a man to suggest that my father and his father and me becoming the father in his father role was one with itself. example that I want to give is most individuals feel that they have to give fame and fortune a reason to give information that comes from the head and the heart and the body and the experience of living the life whilst alive. Some people show that you have to look good to give the correct information needed to feel that you could prosper. Most people show that once they're beat down and they've sold out and they have no more knowledge to give and they look bad, then it's over. But with this whole program for myself, this is how I look when I speak what I've spoken. I have no money, I have no fame, I have no girlfriend. I don't have any ideas of wanting to be someone important or rich or needing to carry around the royalty of somebody else's economy or value or experiment or practice. I'm just here to just give the insightful incarnation of listening and obedience. I can prove through this simple message who's responsible for all these problems. I don't want to see any of my brown people's faces on pound coins or pesetas or euros, or I don't want you to allow yourself to allow that to happen. I don't want you to be reminded of being seen to be guilty at every moment, anytime you walk into a shop to give your money, knowing that some influential leader from the past who was slain, his face has to be on that money for you to see that you have value or no. So if you're looking for the person who pretty much didn't give you what I give you for free, then on every coin, in every country, in any type of overroom, for whoever's trying to overstand that money, are the people to be held accountable. And that's without me having to call any names, so that you can see my face, to see how confidence looks when you know not your book, your angels, or your people, or your friends, or your enemies, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, or your infatuation. But just, if there's something that you can do to help, then it wouldn't be like this. But you'd have to be the truth in all the words that your Bible suggests for the abbreviations that your eyes are supposed to read instead of speaking or hearing, so that you could be your test, the Moni, to preach against the minister who doesn't give you the fulfillment of the words needing to set people free. For free. Because it costs nothing to be free.